So P-I-C, if we're talking in today's tech language. Athletes want to have pride, they want to improve, and they want to feel connection. Because as the great Maya Angelou once said, I've learned that people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. So a great way to get connection as a coach is to fill the emotional tank. So is there anyone in this room who compulsively checks the gas gauge in their car? Me, okay. Me too. And why is that?
Because I've run out of gas a few times and it's not fun.
Fair. Right? It gives you peace of mind. Like you can plan for when you need to fill your gas tank up. Like seems like common sense, but there are people who don't check at all. Is there anyone on that radar? Because that would be my husband. I don't understand it. It drives me crazy, right? So has anyone been in the situation, I know Kelly, you kind of alluded to it, where the gas light comes on? Mm-hmm. And then what happens when the gas light comes on in your car?
Stress level goes up.
Yes.
Am I going to make it?
Yes.
Am I familiar with the surroundings here where I know where I can go get gas?
Yeah. Distracted driving while Googling gas station.
Yes.
Actually, yeah. My car now tells me the range. So now I try to like play the odds. I'm like, oh, I've got 4 miles and I've got 4.6 miles to go. So can I make it?
Yeah, right. Exactly. Like panic. And it's like you feel like my car could shut down in any moment. So we kind of begin to shut down ourselves. And the thing about it is our athletes are no different, right? Athletes with a full tank, like you're cruising, right? You're optimistic, adversity happens, like you're cool, you're more coachable. If you have an empty tank, guess what? You begin to shut down. So they're more pessimistic, they give up more easily, and quite frankly, they're less coachable. So here's the thing. Again, Kelly, you were like in my brain today. Our cars right now can tell us almost to the mile when we're getting ready to run out of gas. And if you coach older kids, you probably experience that as well. But even though they can tell us like, hey, running out of gas, running out of gas, running out of gas, guess what? We're still responsible for filling them up or plugging them in, right? If you're really fancy. So your car works for you just like your athletes work for you. And no matter how well you treat them, you are responsible for draining their tanks. So in turn, we are responsible for filling them up. And as coaches, we experience this too, right? So as a coach, who is probably our biggest tank drainer?
As a coach, who drains our tank?
Parents.
Yeah.
I was going to say the same thing. Parents of the athletes can.
Yeah, right. Probably number one on the list. So I want us to split the room right down the middle. So we'll go Jake and Joe and Kelly and Ruben. So right now, Kelly and Ruben, you're disgruntled parents, right? It really doesn't matter what these other two do. You just maybe they don't play your kid, or quite frankly, you just think they're idiots. But like right now, I just want you to like take it out on them and let them have it.
Gosh, I don't know what the coach is thinking. Does he even know the sport?
Right. Awesome.
My kid is so much better than that. Why is my kid sitting the bench when they should be starting? This is ridiculous.
Yeah. All right. So now, Jake and Joe, you get to be the parent that every coach dreams of, right? So even if you just lost a crucial game, but you're just so thankful that this coach like spends time with your kid and pours into them. Like, how would you speak to Kelly and Ruben?
Oh, Coach, you just are God's gift to me. I would send my kid anywhere you are. I'm happy to do that.
He's better than me. I'm not going to go. Thank you, Coach, would probably be where I'd end it.
Yeah, and thank you is huge, right? So as a coach, like when we are faced with disgruntled parents versus more pleasurable parents, sort of what are those differences and how does that affect you as a coach?
I think one of the main differences is feeling appreciated, as opposed to feeling like you owe something to their kid and the family, and you're, just kind of two different mindsets that parents can bring to the thing.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And they affect you. Yeah. Do you feel like do you feel like you're appreciated, or do you feel like, you owe people something? People think you owe them something.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, right, again, it's the same for our athletes, right? What drains their take? Criticism, sarcasm. I know that one's a tough for me. I'm a pretty sarcastic person. Ignoring them, certain nonverbals. But then what fills their tank, right? Truthful, specific praise, expressing appreciation, listening, and then, right, high fives, thumbs up, those kind of verbals. So I know that's not an easy task, right? Like, this seems like, oh, ha ha ha, this is so easy. No, I get that, right? Because sports is a world where below average statistics are considered great. If we take, sports numbers and put them in the classroom, like, we're getting failing grades. So there's a lot to point out that's wrong, because statistically there's more wrongs than there are rights. And it's easy to critique when there's a lot of things wrong. And let's not get it wrong. Critiquing is absolutely a part of our job, right? So let's go back to this bucket that we filled up earlier. It was easy to fill it up. It's a whole bucket. We put stuff in it. And now we're in the real world. And in the real world, in the coaching world, guess what? There's a hole in this bucket. We're constantly taking stuff out, right? So even though we're putting stuff in, this bucket is constantly draining, because remember, these athletes are working for you. So if we are constantly critiquing, what is that ratio that we think it is for every negative? We have to put something positive into the jar. So we'll play a little multiple choice game. If I say that number is like 3-1, anybody pretty confident in that number and want to represent the 3-1?
I think I would.
Okay, perfect. Mm-hmm. What if I'm like, maybe it's 5-1? Anybody thinking, yeah, 5 sounds a little more accurate? Who wants to represent the 5-1 group? Perfect. And then if you're waiting for like an astronomical number and you think it's like 10-1, who's going to represent the 10-1s? Perfect. Awesome. Perfect. So in practice, we'd probably do a round of applause just to get temperature of the room to see kind of where they think, and then reveal that the magic answer is 5-1. So that's what we call the magic ratio. For my brain, I have dubbed it the high five ratio, because it reminds me that every time I critique my kid, they literally and figuratively need a high five, because studies have found that at that magic ratio of 5-1, emotional tanks are full, the best learning environments happen, we strengthen relationships, and we motivate. So if there's one thing that you can do as a coach when you walk out of here today, it's to up your pluses and minuses. And even me, right? That's asking for a failing grade. I give you dozens of things. I'm asking, hey, at least take one. But guess what? If I'm focused on that one, then we're all getting better. And that's really what we want as coaches. So for me, what really excited me about this principle is that as a basketball girl, Phil Jackson agrees. And Phil Jackson is arguably one of the best coaches to have ever coached the game. He's on the National Advisory Board. He wrote the foreword to this great book that we have. But you know what? I'm going to let Phil speak for himself. So, Phil comes, we play the video, all that good stuff. And then, I don't know Phil personally, but word on the street is that he is a pretty zen guy. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't think anyone in my life would classify me as zen. Can anyone relate to that? You're pretty intense as a person and as a coach, right? So this number of 5-1, probably seems a little overwhelming, because you're thinking, gosh, I'm just not an overtly positive person. So here's the good news. This 5-1 ratio is a cumulative ratio. we're not asking you, gosh, I got a critique to give. So now I need to think of 5 things to say to this athlete right now before I give them this critique. No, what we want you to do is create an environment where the positives flow so freely that when it is time to give a critique, right, these kids already have full tanks. And then the other half of this is we want you to think about how you're giving criticism, right? How do we give criticism in a thoughtful way and a way that's more approachable? Do you guys have any techniques or maybe things that have really worked well for you when we're talking about giving approachable feedback to our student athletes?
I had a coach that really emphasized that if I could get better in one particular area, wow, how great a player I would be, because I was already so good at all these other things. So it really made me feel like, oh, wow, this coach really believes in me, and all I have to do is work hard in this one area, and then I'll be a complete player.
Awesome. Anyone else?
I found with my, especially the younger kids, like the under 12 kids, the girls that I coach, whenever I try to give feedback in front of everybody, it's like they kind of all tune out, or else they either all tune out or they all think I'm talking about them. So I found like sometimes just if they're running a drill or they're running in a scrimmage, if I just go, psst, psst, come here, Julie, come over. I want to talk to you real quick, and like act like it's kind of a secret. Like, hey, I have a tip for you. I love how you're doing this, but I want you to try this. Go ahead, go get back in the game. Like they just love it. I think they feel special because I pull them off to the side, and because it's like a whisper little private conversation, they think it's like they lean in. So that's been really effective for me this season.
Nice. Awesome.
Yeah,
So some of your, go ahead.
What I saw in Kelly is just kind of the enthusiasm she had for the message she was giving. And you kind of sense this excitement that Kelly's excited because this is going to help the athlete improve. It's pretty neat to see.
Yeah, awesome. And like you guys hit on some of our favorites, right? So avoid non-teachables, right? First thing I learned in marriage, pick your battles. I think it's the same thing as a coach and across most relationships. Like pick your battles. Is this worth it right now, right? Talked about criticizing in private. Again, I think particularly with this generation, like this one, and you can do it in the middle of practice. Nobody really has to know what's going on. Everybody else is still occupied. And it creates a little bit of intimacy between you and that player, right? Ask permission. Hey, I noticed some things. Is this a good time to give some feedback? Use if-then statements, right? A lot of these kids, what do they want to know? Why? Use that to your advantage. And then, criticism sandwich. Again, positive, negative, positive, all wrapped into one. So we talk about criticism, which I think truthfully comes the easiest for a lot of us coaches. So now let's talk about positive feedback, because what I don't want to get misconstrued is that we're not asking you, right, to put on like, a high-pitched voice and just sing rah-rah cheers and kumbaya, right? As a coach, you have to be authentic. If you're not authentic, your players are going to suss that out, and it's not going to have the effect that you want to have. And I think the truth is that sometimes as coaches, we do struggle with positivity because we feel like it has to be manufactured. So I want us to split up into 2 groups right now. If you would say that you are someone who gives praise vocally, like it is easy for you to say, hey, good job, you got this, and point out all those things. I want you guys to come together on this side of the room. If you're maybe someone who's a little more non-vocal, it's a lot of high fives, thumbs up, maybe a chest bump where it's necessary, I want you guys to get together on this side of the room. And then let's take a moment to identify 3 ways in which it's really easy for you vocally and you non-verbally to give positive feedback. But then I really want you guys to take a couple minutes to brainstorm some ideas that are less vocal for you all and more vocal for you, in which you can give positive feedback to your teams, because we really do need to service everyone on our team. So take a moment, we do that, then kind of like ask for a spokesperson to share with the group kind of what they came up with. And then my last point is really just a reminder for us coaches that we don't have to bear all of the responsibility. I think great leaders are great delegators. And the truth of the matter is, to sustain a positive culture, we really have to get everyone involved. And so filling the emotional tanks, it's really a team responsibility. And so I want to encourage you all to get your teams involved by talking about things that we really think work well. So that's the buddy system, right? You pair your kids up, partners in crime, they each have each other's back, and they can focus on themselves and one other person. Positive charting. Again, we go back to statistics. Like as coaches, we can get so wrapped up into these stat sheets. But let's focus on and talk about the intangibles that we go through day in and day out in practice. And then lastly, the winner circle, right? Most of us are huddling after games, after practices. Really take that time to go around and touch on every single person on your team and on your staff to say, wow, we really did these things well today. So get your teams involved and see what good happens. And that's it for that section.
All right.
Stuff. Thank you, Asha.
Thank you.
Thanks. Perfect timing.
Yeah, that was really very concise and tight. That was excellent.
She's smooth, Joe. She's smooth.
She is. I'm excited.
That was one of
Can I
my
go first so people don't
positive
steal my
adjectives
stuff?
I had.
Yes, go ahead.
Cool.
Jake, is that
Asha, we
you?
are so lucky to have you. Oh my gosh. Like,
Oh, thank
yeah,
you.
I don't know you. I don't know everything you've done yet, but we're going to be really, really in a good shape. Watch, as you're the face of this for so many people. That's really exciting for us. I have a few things that I'm thinking throughout the whole thing, but there's first of all, overwhelmingly positive stuff. This was really good. I just got off a call with another trainer where she's preparing to do her first parent workshop.
Okay.
And so maybe this is more on my mind than it would be on another day. I love what you do with coaches and parents, and especially turning it into an activity. I would just, and just as a thought piece, not even as a correction, think about, there is a somewhat natural adversarial relationship between coaches and parents in many situations. I always talk with, especially parent workshops, about trying to reframe that as a partnership and not to fuel the fire of an adversarial relationship there. And really my experience is, for all we talk about, and I've had parent problems too, as I reflect on it though, the vast, vast majority of the parents of children I've coached have been incredible. They're just not the ones that get in your face.
Yeah.
Like they don't get excited about telling you that, thank you. They are darn excited about telling you about playing time.
Yeah.
So, I think it's important that we don't pit one against the other as much as we can, not do that while still being honest about the challenge. So it's just a balance thing. And I don't think you missed it. I'm just saying it's a thing to keep in mind. I love what you did with critiquing in athletes. And I thought that hit home really hard. I'm careful not to use critique and criticism as the same thing.
Gotcha.
A really great coach I used to work with would tell our guys, we will correct you. We will not criticize you, because criticism is talking about who you are and correcting is talking about what you did. And so I did, again, that's a nuance. That's, fantastic. And then the last thing, I loved your activity, and we'll absolutely steal your activity for vocal versus physical praise. A thing I think I might add to it is, rather than having them share, which one they would do, Ruben has a great concept that really kind of affected my workshop in a positive way, which is he talks about practicing coaching during the workshop. And that phrase alone really kind of transformed how I was looking at some of my activities. So rather than telling them, hey, share out what you would do, have them do it. Have them, or try one of the ones they saw from the other side of the room. Now you vocal people saw some great non-vocal stuff, take one of theirs and do theirs. But so doing it rather than telling about it, I think, is something I've learned from Ruben, but I think can be really powerful.
Nice. Thank you.
Thanks, Joe. Jake?
Yeah. So excellent job. So the adjectives I wrote down were controlled and smooth delivery, which showed a lot of confidence. So that was really impressive. It's okay if you were. Were you reading off a script at all?
I have my notes, but most of it I have in my head.
But it's not like it was almost, for a minute I was like, wow, it almost is like it was.
Oh,
so
no, like
controlled.
word for word, no.
Okay, that's pretty awesome. That's a gift you have there. That's great. And then I really enjoyed the analogy, how kind of the older kids might be more like your car that tells you exactly how many miles are left, where younger kids might not be. I thought that was I never thought of it that way. It's really cool add-on. Wrote it down. And then to Joe's point there, and maybe I'll defer to the trainer expert who can tell me if I'm base here, but specifically when you reveal some of the tank filling stuff, like nonverbals and positive touch or whatever it may be, I think that's a nice time for either a quick story or demonstration, or have them practice something just to get it to stick in, rather than here are 3 things that are good ways to fill tanks. It's like, no, these are the things, make them more than just a learning experience, or just reveal the slide, make it like, I've seen a few trainers like, show me what it looks like a nonverbal when you're angry, and then they get everybody to stand up and they're like, they really bring it home.
Yeah.
So that's something I always enjoy, and I feel like it makes that lesson come home a little more. But that was it for me.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jake. Ruben?
Thought it was very strong, Asha. Your pace,
Ruben,
smoothness. Oh, are you hearing me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you're good.
Your pace, how smooth, you're in control. I think you have a nice balance between bringing your charisma, appropriate humor, your smile, your laughter. I love your style. I like all that, and you blend it, you balance it with professionalism, mastery of the content. The format, how to use the deck and the slides as a tool, not making it all about the slides. So I agree with everything everybody said. I thought it was very strong. And I think the one thing I would like to see, and it was touched upon already, is I'd like you to get us doing. You got us talking and discussing. At some point, I want you to get us doing something, like Joe said, practicing a tool or involved in actual physical activity.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks. All right. And hi, Aswand and Christy. Aswand, I muted you because you were pulling up twice, so we were hearing an echo. So I just muted you. Just don't take it personally. Asha, I'm excited because I got to see you the first time, and I think you're just getting better every time you do it. And you're just one of those people that are so comfortable. And I really don't think it's going to be any different in front of a group of coaches. I think you've got such you're so smooth. You know what you're doing. You know where you're going, and it makes the coaches confident in the room that you know what you're talking about and you know where they're headed. The only, and I'm not going to repeat what everybody else said because I agree with a lot of it, but I think just a lot of it is just your approach. Like in marriage, you got to pick your battles. Coaches, we got to do it too. Like that's something that we can relate to. I like the way that you were talking about, like Phil Jackson, like it's just who you are. So you brought a lot of authenticity to who you are in the workshop. I think that's great too. The only 2 things that I put down as suggestions are I want to hear a personal story also.
Okay.
I think as Jake said, like when we can connect to a personal story of an athlete that you've coached, because you have coached at so many different levels. Asha didn't tell you this, but she's coached at every division of basketball, D1, D2, and D3. And I think there's a lot to be said for that. And you've got a lot of athletes under your belt that you've worked with, and people might look at you and be like, you're not old enough to be coaching all these kids, so it gives you credibility too. Like you're not just talking about coaching 6-year-olds. You're talking about a lot of coaching experience at your age, which is credibility. So use that to your advantage. So I would love to hear you add in some kind of a personal story and some kind of a reference to the book. You went over like the buddy system and the winner's circle. Show them where it is in the book, because we're sending them home with the book. So we want them to know that this is where great resources are. And again, I agree with a lot of the things that you did. You're obviously a very discussion-based person, but get them up, get them doing something, get them laughing, draining somebody else's tank. And you have enough clever and creative ideas to do that, but it just makes it more fun, sort of breaks up the discussion, answer, flow of the workshop. And I think you'll have a lot more fun. It's memorable too. It creates a moment where people are like cracking up at this guy who's going off on another coach.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So I agree. And I also didn't mention it, but I loved what Joe said too about, I wasn't thinking of it at the time, but I think eventually making sure that the parent and coach partnership is that's what our culture is.
Yeah.
It's easy for a workshop to turn into a venting session I even sometimes just say, hey coaches, what are some of your challenges? And oh my gosh, they will go off on parents. And I'm like, whoa, okay, sorry. Didn't mean to open up that can of worms. But if you set a culture that, this is a coach-parent partnership, and we know we have struggles with parents, so how can we get them on our side? It's a little bit more helpful than, as Joe said, kind of feeding the flame of like, what would parents say to you? Like, go off, be a parent that's going off on a coach. Because it could be a little rough, especially because a lot of the workshops that we do, the parents are the coaches. So, the volunteer coaches that are at the youth organizations are the parents. So you have to just be careful with that as well.
Yeah. Understood for sure.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I love it though. I will follow up with an email to you so that you know what the next steps are.
Perfect. Sounds good.
Yeah. Yeah. So you're welcome to stay on if your little one's still sleeping, or you're welcome to jump off, but Aswand is up.
Thanks. I'm going to drop off too, guys.
All right. Take care, Jake.
Bye, guys.
Jake.
Thanks for joining. So Aswand, you can just unmute one of them or the other. I'm not sure which one you're if you go to the top, you can unmute. Do you know how to do that? If you go to the top of your screen, there's a little black box at the top of your screen. Just click unmute. There you go.
Can you hear me on that?
We can hear you. Not super loud, but we can hear you. Do you want to try to unmute the other one instead? I don't know what else you're logged in on. Oh, you're on your phone too? Yeah, try to unmute that on your phone. See if that works better. You're still muted. The one on your phone, you're still muted. And I can't unmute you. I don't know why that is.
Oh, got it.
Yeah, there you go.
Right,
Now we can hear you.
You hear me better with this one, right?
We can hear you, yes.
All right, cool. So let's see. I guess I'll do this. But you can't see me is the problem.
Right, but can you turn on the camera for your phone then?
We can see you on the other one. We see you on the computer one.
There we go.
You're good on both now.
I got to get tech savvy, guys.
Yeah.
I'm a tech savvy person. I just made a huge tech screw up this week, so don't feel bad.
All right. So a couple things. The PowerPoint you sent me, the slides weren't the way they were on the classroom stuff.
Okay. So you're on both. Well, let me just stop working. You're on both now. So when you're on a computer and a phone, it gives you a lot of feedback. So if you just want, yeah, there you go. That's better.
So that was the problem.
And I don't know why you're sideways. I'm not really sure.
Well, I have my phone sideways. That's why.
Oh, there you go. I thought usually it'll just adjust. Okay. So the slides I sent you were what? I'm sorry.
So the slides were different. They weren't the same as they were in the course. So it's a little different. I hope you don't mind. But I said the second one because it's that's how I present. But you guys are welcome to, listen to some get better.
Okay,
So,
you're breaking up. Yeah, I'm not sure why you're breaking up. You weren't breaking up a minute ago. Do you guys hear him broken up, or is it just me?
It's not you.
A little choppy. Little choppy.
Okay.
You guys hear me now? Do I have to hold it closer?
We can't. Yeah. Do you have headphones? Sometimes that works. If you have headphones to put on. If you don't, it's okay. Joe, I was telling Ruben I'm digging the AirPods.
I'm telling you, the right answer is really like a Plantronics, just a single ear Bluetooth thing because they block out other things actively.
Yeah.
I don't know if the earpods do. Generally, things made for music are not great for.
All right, do you guys hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you.
That's better?
Yep.
All right. So what happened was when I was going over the slides, the Herm Edwards video was second.
Okay.
So I thought that was the second part of the slide.
Okay.
So the way the one presented, it's gonna be second.
Do whatever. I mean, it's fine. Even when you become a trainer, you're welcome to switch the order of some slides. That's fine.
All right.
Okay. So you have us here. I don't know if have you met Joe and Christy?
I met
Not
Christy.
me.
Well, I talked to Christy. Yes, I didn't meet her.
Yeah, I think Christy might have been on last time. So Joe, do you want to just introduce yourself real quick? So Aswand knows who you are.
Absolutely. I am one of the lead trainers along with Kelly and Ruben. And specifically, once you're certified and through Kelly's course, depending on chapter, and we can all work with anybody, but primarily work with the trainers in my chapter just to be a resource and to keep getting better all the time. Both directions, frankly.
And you've met Ruben Aswand, right? You know who Ruben is. Okay. Yep. All right. So you have us here. You can treat us as your workshop participants. We're your coaches at your workshop. So if you're going to do something at your workshop that you need 20 people, don't let us stop you by just being 4 of us. Just say, hey, I want you guys to get on this side of the room or stand up or sit down or whatever you want to do to make your workshop come to life. Okay?
Okay. All right, so you guys aren't hearing me. All right, y'all hear me now?
Yeah, now I can hear you.
All right, so I guess I gotta hold it closer, hold the phone closer.
Oh, that's a shame. So, I'm sorry.
All right, so I need credit for being here. So I need everyone to pull out the electronic devices and text the number 6. Text to the number 650-634. Text the number of the workshop, which is going to be on the pound sign, and depending on how you are, your first name and email address. And what it's going to do is that's going to get you locked into database coaches to where you'll get information after this workshop. So just let me know when that's done and put your thumbs up and let me know when it's done. Just so I could. Good.
You already did the Texas sign in for the last workshop. I mean, for the last demo, didn't you, Aswand? So you don't necessarily have to do that again. You can go right to the principle that you were going to do.
No, the intro.
Oh, you're going to do the intro? Okay.
Yeah, I never did the part.
Okay. That's fine. Go ahead. Sorry. Maybe you're just breaking up a little bit. Okay.
All right, so first things first, I know what happened is you guys heard positive coaching wise, and you guys, oh brother, a group of people telling us that winning is not important. So the first thing I want you guys to do is we're going to break up into 4 teams. We're going to break it up into 1. Everyone count from 1 to 4. So let's start with you. 1, 2, 3, 4.
2, 3, 4. Yep.
I'm going to start this off by holding a halfway push-up. And I want the first person to drop, I need the person to raise their hand, the first person to drop. On my whistle, I want you guys to hold a halfway push-up. Is everyone clear what I just asked? So they get up and, they're forming their teams, and I put them on a team. And then,
I'll be honest, I'm not clear what you mean by a halfway push-up.
So a halfway push-up is you're down, your elbows are bent. You're down in push-up position, and on my whistle, you're going to bend the elbows until you can't hold it anymore.
Got it. Thanks, Coach.
Are we good? Does everyone understand what I just asked? All right, so ready? And then they hold it. Now, the first person, for some reason, I'm not hearing you guys. I'm not hearing you guys here.
We're mostly not talking. Yeah, I'm muted unless I'm talking. I think most of us are.
Oh, okay. So I'm not sure if you're just hearing not hearing what I'm saying.
Do you hear me? Do you hear me, Aswand?
All right, I got you, Ruben. I got you.
Yeah.
I got you. I just didn't know if you guys were, because you weren't responding to what I was saying. But what's going to happen now is they're going to hold the halfway push-up, and then the people come, they're going to go through that exercise. And then after that, I'm going to play the video. So what happens is now we have a lot of coaches on our advisory board. One of them is Herm Edwards. He's a personal favorite of mine, and he has a message for you. So then this video goes up. I'm going to show the video.
When the book of your life is written, what will it look like? Will it say you made a difference? And you really want to make a difference. You have the ability with young people in mind that through sports, they learn a lot about life. And how you handle these young players, I think is very, very important in their growth. Most of these players will not go on to be professionals, but the opportunity they have in sports is really a part of their life. Learn how to compete. That's probably the most important thing. I think the way you compete is important. And you have to understand, someone's going to win, someone's going to lose. But at the end, how do you handle that situation is probably the most important thing if you're going to have a successful life.
All right, so when I ask, then I'm going to ask, who here has played youth sports? Now, I want you to turn to your partner and tell them which coach made a difference in your life, which coach made a positive difference in your life. Turn to your partner, take about 30 seconds and talk to him a little bit about which coach made a positive difference. And they'll do that for 30 seconds. And then I'm going to have them hold that push-up again. All right. Now, what was the difference between the first push-up and the second push-up? Turn to your partner, talk to a little bit about them as you head back to your seats. Now, as they're heading back to their seats, I'm going to explain to them what a double goal coach is we want to win. This is the reason I put you guys in that push-up position, because we want to win. Geez, I forgot to do that. All right, I got to start over, guys. All right, so I'm sorry. I'm just so many ideas I had. What I'm also going to do with the push-up thing is I'm going to give away like a notebook to the person that holds it the longest, just to prove that we're also winners. And I completely slipped my mind to do that. So we'll work on it next time, though. All right, as you're going back to your seats, PCA, we have over 80,000 coaches trained. We reach over 3 million youth a year, and we hold about 2,500 workshops per year. And there's well over 1 million visits to PCAdeadzone.org, which is kind of like a WebMD for coaches. When you have a problem, then you can go and look at it. If I have a problem with this coach or this parent, you're going to be able to do it, or you're going to be able to type it in and get information. This slide. All right, so here's a little bit of for me. I played for three different programs, and all these coaches retired at their school, so that's why I'm here. I've learned along the way that coaching is something that is about staying positive, and it's because of these three men here. Bob Malloy was the main and the late Sparky retired at Carson College, and Chuck Priority at Stony Brook. He signed the contract that's going to make him the head football coach there until 2022. So that's me. That's why I'm involved with this organization. I understood the importance of staying positive and being a part of something that you're going to stick with for a long time. So that being said, what does a phrase like positive coaching mean to you guys?
Encouragement.
Anybody else?
Role model, being a positive role model.
That I can't hear. I'm only hearing Ruben. I'm only hearing.
He was the only one talking. You got it right. You're in good shape.
Oh, okay. Encouragement.
Enthusiasm.
Okay. What we
pointing out what kids do well, not just pointing out mistakes, but pointing out things that they're doing well.
Anything, Kelly?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the question.
What does a phrase like positive coaching mean to you?
Yeah, that's what I think. Encouraging, supportive, having fun, enjoying what they're doing, bringing out the best in the kids. Yeah.
Okay, I gotcha. All right, so what we like to call positive, the phrase, what we say the phrase is at PCA, it's creating an atmosphere that supports the best possible performance. And we actually have people on our national advisory board. One of them, which is a psychology professor at the University of North Carolina. And she says there's a perception that the best way to get with one of our employees or players is by negativity or threats. But negativity does not work as well as positivity. She also says positive emotions are especially contagious, and a leader's positive emotions are more contagious than anyone else's. We also are featured in mainline media. We all been reading the magazine Sports Illustrated since we were kids. And it says it talks about the benefits of a positive coach. So slowly but surely, we're starting to see that negativity wearing out and leaving the game. It's just not exactly what's helpful to the environment.
Mm-hmm.
We also, we work with sports psychologists from years to come, and they're basically saying the same thing, that negativity distracts. So do you guys agree that negativity or positivity works better than negativity?
Yes.
Yeah.
So my next question is, why do you think there's so much negativity in sports?
Well, you get frustrated. Both two teams want to win, so only one of them is going to achieve what they want to. You work hard, and if a referee makes a call that you don't think is fair, it's difficult. It can be difficult to stay positive in those situations.
Okay. Anyone else? No.
I just think that people respond better, as Ruben said. I think they respond better to positivity.
Awesome. No. The question is, why do you think there's so much negativity in sports?
Well, I mean, you think there's negativity because just the coaches and the people around. I agree. I got the question wrong, but I think that the coaches and the people around just feel like they have so much control over what's happening when they actually don't. So they get frustrated really, really easily. And if they understood that positivity really was the way to do it, I think they would. But they just don't know. They just don't understand.
I think it's the way we were coached.
Okay, so the way we were coached, and that there was so much negativity in it. And you're right. When you're in the heat of the moment, I understand 100%. When you're in the heat of the moment, you tend to really go off on people. But PCA's vision is to use sports psychology research to develop the best practices of staying positive throughout all of those heated moments. Trust me, I've been there. I've coached high school football for 2 seasons, and I know exactly what it's like when you tell a kid to do one thing and he completely does the opposite. So what we have to do is we have to be in that moment. We have to stay positive in that moment because we don't know what that kid is going through. All right. Okay, sorry, my slides are getting jumbled up here.
That's okay.
Oh, man, see, all right, my bad. All right, so I missed the part about the elite coaches.
That's okay. Keep going.
All right, I'll keep going. Now, what we're going to do at the end of this is going to send you home with a book, and I touched on this a little bit earlier, but you will have access to PCAsDeadZone.org, and you're going to get weekly talking points. So I'm not going to be this guy that you see once and, you're never going to hear about the organization again. We're going to constantly follow up with you guys to make sure what we're doing here, what the practices and the things that we're doing here are going to carry with you. You could take it with you to your programs and to your parents, and hopefully it's going to help your environment a little better. So what I want to do now, I want to ask you guys and Kelly, I'm going to steal this idea from you because I have my
Go for it. Yeah, go for it.
So I'm going to throw a ball at you guys. What do you guys think makes a great youth experience for kids? And I'll throw the ball. I like that one, by the way.
Yeah.
I think when the kids learn new things and see that they're getting better, I think that makes a great experience.
Now throw it to someone else, Ruben. I'll throw it to Kelly.
Here you go, Kelly.
I think winning is a big part of it. I think if they can see themselves winning and improving along the way, but also if they, come up with a couple W's when they play in games, I think those are the seasons I remember, the ones that we won a lot. Had success.
All right. Let's throw it to Joe and see what goes on. And see what
Go, Joe.
Remind me of the question, Coach.
What makes a great youth sports experience for the kids?
I just, when their joy, when they're smiling and laughing and making noise and having fun, I think that helps contribute to a great experience for them.
All right. So what PCA's done is we've broken it down to 3 things. Kids want to feel connected to their teammates and their coach. They want to believe they can improve, and they want to feel proud with integrity. And we've broken that down into three principles. The connected is filling the emotional tank. We call it the emotional tank. Improving is the elm tree of mastery, and integrity is honoring the game. And we're going to have practices and get into all 3 of those principles a little bit later. Before I do, and then this one's where I will show that model to win, just like I held the push-up. And the reason I wanted you guys to understand that there's going to be I'm going to give you. The reason I had you guys hold that push-up at the beginning and give winner a few pence, because I did not want you to feel that I'm against winning. We want to win. We want to win very, very badly. That's why we're in this business. But we know the majority of the people that we coach are not going to be professional athletes. So what's more important is that we teach life lessons and teach them how to live a great life. The most rewarding thing that can happen is your kid comes back to you and says, Coach, I think about everything you said every day of my working world. So that's when I show them this and then get right into the principles. And with the principles now, the first one, well, I guess I'll get into it later. The person that that dropped on the push-up at the beginning, I'm going to have him stand up and we're going to drain his emotional tank for dropping first. And then we're going to try to fill it. And I have all these ideas about how I can, all these exercises I can do with the principles. So
would you do that? Would you do that in the beginning? Would you do the draining, filling, like the guy that was holding the push-up or drop for the push-up in the beginning, or would you do it later?
Right. So as I transition, I go right into the principle number one. So the guy that dropped the push-up first, come up and, I have 30 seconds. So let's just drain him and say, you suck, you can't do this. And then I'll tell him something positive and see how difficult it is to say something positive about the fact that he dropped first. And then get into, how it's those five that how easy it is for us to drain people's tank. And I want to show them exactly how easy it is to drain people's tank, as opposed it is to tell them something that you did good about dropping at the beginning.
Okay.
And then that's when we get into the toolkits and all the things that we want to, the 5-to-1 ratio and all that.
Well, that's for emotional tank though. So like in the introduction.
No, So after I do that exercise, then I'd go into that. But the introduction, as you said.
Yeah. So, well, no, I mean, no. I'm just saying there was just parts of it that I just wanted to make sure that you had there, that you said you had a different slideshow. I think the big, like the end of the introduction where they talk about what a double goal coach actually is. Do you have those?
Yes, that's when, I got into the situation of why I gave away the prize, why I gave away something for the team that held the push up the longest, because I want them to understand we want to win, but less than emotions. And I have it's right here, so I don't know if you understand. It's on my computer.
Okay.
Okay, all done, right?
Okay,
Yeah,
so how would you wrap up the introduction then before you go into the first principle? Okay.
I wrap it up with this double goal coaching here, and then the next one goes right to so one, and then it goes principle, and it goes right into principle.
Okay, what about like the Herm Edwards piece? I am. I'm just a little confused. I think it's easier. Next time maybe we'll put up the slideshow so we can see where you're at. I just feel like it's jumping around a little bit, and I'm just making sure that you have the same thing.
Right. And the Herm Edwards piece goes right after they hold the push-up at the beginning. So the first time they hold the push-up, you show them the video, and then you get right into the Herm Edwards. And then it's like, what coach made a difference in your life as you and then you hold the push-up again for the second time, and that's when I was going to give away the prizes, and it completely slipped my mind to do that here. But that's when I'll give away the prizes to the person to the team that held the longest.
Okay. So what would you do if there were coaches at your workshop that literally cannot do a push-up? Do you have like a backup plan? Like if you get some 70-year-old football coach that's like, no way, I'm not getting down there to do that.
What happens now is he gets drained for not trying.
Oh, okay.
So the people that don't even try, I'll use them as that example. So let's say a kid comes out and he's not as athletically inclined as you want him to be, and he does the same thing you do. This is what if you were to bash him, and I'll use that as an example to say this is how the emotional thing can be filled and unfilled.
Okay. All right. Well, Ruben and Joe, I'd love to hear some feedback from you for Aswand.
Yeah, please.
Yeah.
Please, I felt completely unprepared for that one.
I'll start. Aswand, you said you felt completely unprepared. Is that what you just said?
Well, I mean, I've been going over it so much. I've been going over so much information. I want to get it out for the first one so I could go back and figure it out.
And this is your first demo, or is this your second?
This is the first demo.
This is first. Yeah, I had him with Asha, and it was Asha's second, so I accidentally put that in.
Okay. Yeah. So, Aswand, this can be overwhelming, right? And I think that finding a way to simplify. And here's the one or two main things I want to do with this opening piece. And so I would encourage you to consider lots of things, and then to simplify. And so I worry about the push-up thing, Aswand, because people come to the workshop, hey, they may come straight from work. They might be in coat and tie. They might be in shoes that, make it unsafe. They might not be, not everybody is physically able to do something physical. There are people at workshops with disabilities. So I think you got to be careful. I like, we like activity. So don't get me wrong. We like activity. We like getting people to do things. And we like, I think the best things that you get people to do are things that even people with limitation, like wadding up a piece of paper and throwing it into a trash can. Okay. That feels safer to me, feels more inclusive than okay, we're going to run a lap, or we're going to hang from a bar for as long. I think you got to use some caution there. Okay. And then in terms of I like the fact also that you're trying to make the critique and the tank draining real. You're trying to make it feel real. And so by draining someone's tank who didn't try to do the push-up or whatever, in a way that's real. But golly, I think it can be harsh. Anyway, I have some concerns about that. You can tell I have some questions and concerns about that. I thought the strongest part of your opening was when you explained to us exactly what it means to be a double goal coach. The strong emphasis on winning. We believe you try to win, but that, hey, most of these kids aren't going to be pros. So what are they going to get out of it? What are they going to get out of this experience that helps them have successful lives? That's even more important. I thought that was the strongest piece of the opening. And then Aswand, I think that you have a low key, I'm going to use the word chill. You have kind of this chill approach to you. And I think it's going to serve you well in a lot of circumstances. And it can't always be chill. I think you have to bring energy and enthusiasm to this, especially at the beginning, and then alter your tone, your energy level, as you go. The chill part to me can become slow and monotonous and boring, quite honestly. So. So I would look for a way to energize your personality in front of the group.
Okay.
Yeah,
How'd you like the team? How'd you like breaking them down into teams?
I think doing something with teams is fine. I think doing something with teams is fine. I think that's fine. It's a question of what you do with the teams. What do you do with it? But I think putting them into teams and creating some kind of mock competition or fun game is absolutely fine. But it's got to be structured. Okay. It's got to be solid. It's got to have real purpose. It's got to be safe. It's got to be safe. And if you want to do something that requires a little more physicality, then at that point, then it's got to be volunteer. Hey, I got something that's going to require some strength here. Is anybody willing to come up or before the workshop, you talk to a few coaches and you say, hey, I'm going to do an activity here where I'm going to have people hold a half push-up. Would you be comfortable joining in on that? And you beforehand, you identify 3, 4, 5, or 2 teams of 3 or whatever. There's a way to do it that makes it safer and doesn't make anybody feel bad for not being able to do it.
Oh, I got you. Thanks.
Yep.
First of all, Aswand, thanks for your time. I mean, this is just, I'm always amazed people are out there doing it and then, still have all the energy and passion to step up and do things like this with coaches and kids. So it's such a big deal. And I just don't want to ever forget to mention that if I can. I've been doing workshops for like 14 years, something. I don't know what it is anymore, but I still hate doing them on Google Hangouts. I don't like it. I avoid it.
Right.
Do not feel bad that this medium is not easy. And it's also, it's really important for us, and Kelly uses it brilliantly to help develop people. But I like, I'm guessing I'm not comfortable with it. And that's 14 years in, and I'm still working on it. I'd like to get better. But don't feel bad if this feels a little unnatural and daunting, because for some of us, I'm particularly not good at it. And so I want you to know that it's not, use it Kelly will help you use it in a way that helps you develop. But remember, this isn't the setting that you'll be in when you're doing workshops either. So Ruben's very good. Ruben tapes them for, does recorded ones for people. He's really good at it. I'm not, I don't have that gift. So don't feel bad if the technology is a struggle, because it is. That's, I appreciate your efforts in that. Can I jump out of PCA for a minute and just ask you to be not PCA, don't answer in any way you think I want to hear or we want to hear. Are you a basketball fan too? Do you watch basketball? By any chance?
Yes.
You watch tonight?
Yes.
Could you just for like a minute tell me what team you want to see win, why you think they're going to win, and why you think I'm wrong because I think the other team's going to win? Just for a second.
So, say that again.
So, who's going to win tonight? Who's good? Who should win? What's going to happen tonight? Who do you like? Yeah, the Warriors and the Warriors and Raptors.
I like Toronto. Yeah, I like Toronto. Without KD, I like Toronto.
Do you hear the change in your voice when you said that? I mean, I think it goes to what Ruben was saying too. Energy is important, but I've certainly seen trainers with different types of energy that work well. It's commitment to what you're saying, and just that, hey, this is what's going to happen, right? I don't for a minute think that if you and I went out after practice and had a soda, that you would be low energy. I don't think that for a second. And if we started getting into it about, I like the Raptors and you like the Warriors or vice versa, I don't think you would lack energy for a minute. I think part of it is you're doing so many things right that you're so focused on doing them right. You're that guy, you're that player who has great footwork but isn't confident in it yet. And you'll build both those things at the same time. I mean, neither is, you can't let go of either, right? You need great footwork to play well, and you need to have the passion and the drive to use that footwork with all your might. But just remember, you're developing both at the same time. And sometimes I'd rather see you get it wrong. I'd rather see you make a mistake with that commitment that you talked about basketball. Hey, no, this was going to happen, right? And still, you're going to fuse both those sets of abilities, and just give yourself time and know that is a lot of work, and I think you're going to be great. Right now, you don't believe in yourself enough to do it well because you are, and I admire this, you're so focused on getting it right. And I think that's a great thing to focus on. Just remember that once you get it right, be you.
Okay. Thanks. Wow, that's a good question. I didn't think about it like that. Hello?
We're here. I was waiting for Kelly.
Kelly, yeah, thanks, Joe. I didn't think about it like that.
Yeah, absolutely. You're going to be great, man. I know you, coach. I've met you. Not in real life, but I've met coaches like you who, this is a weird setting. I mean, it really is. And I'm guessing on the sidelines, you have no problem having energy. I'm guessing in practice and players working on something and you believe in them and believe in them getting better. I doubt you lack energy. This is a difficult setting. Be kind to yourself in getting good at this, because I think you're going to be really good at this.
Thank you.
You bet.
Kelly, are you still there?
Kel? My mic dropped at the end of that hard, so that was why. She's afraid to talk, clearly.
I don't know what happened with Kelly. You know
I'm not
what?
sure.
Here's what I think we should do. I think we should wrap up, and then Kelly can follow up with Aswand. Oh, is she
Yep.
coming?
Wait,
She back? She might be back. Hey, Kel. Uh-oh.
That was
Now we got a problem.
Aswand coming back up.
Oh, he probably put his other mic on or something. Yeah, they could.
I put the mic on, but I see her.
Yeah, I see her. I just don't hear her.
So something happened. She
yeah.
dropped, or she had to step away. There she comes. No, now Christy's back.
Hi, Christy. A little challenging call here. Sorry. And see, that's one. We don't have it always right either in terms of getting the. Kelly does a great job, like I said, with Hangouts, but it is an imperfect medium at best. You know, I hate it too, so don't feel bad if it's not comfortable. But we do use it really well, so that's good. Yeah. How'd you feel? Okay, I guess that's probably the big question. How'd you feel about what would your take? And start with what you felt good about.
I felt good about the ideas I have for the group of people, but it's hard to say without everyone sort of saying, like, if you go into a situation where it's positive coaching alliance, in my head, if I'm a coach, I'm like, I'm not going because they're going to tell me that winning isn't important. So initially in my head, it's like, all right, break them up into teams. Let's start a competition. But then it's like you said, they might not be able to put, let's figure out a way to compete and another way to get them up to where they're competing and then get into, all right, how does this help me win?
Yeah. And making those connections for them is I think you put your finger right on it. Yeah.
I mean, it could be a team, it could be two rival coaches that just are on the same team for that workshop, and then all of a sudden, boom, they have a connection. They know each other, and put that side down, and all that stuff. It goes just based on the action, but it's hard for me to explain it when I'm sort of have to keep it under 20 minutes, or people aren't walking around.
Yeah.
So
I'll definitely work on it.
So Kelly,
enjoy it, yeah.
Kelly texted me that she had an emergency come up that involves a doctor. So we're going to wrap up. Kelly will follow up with you as once, and she didn't give you a chance. She didn't get a chance to give her feedback to you. So she'll follow up with you directly, probably by just with a phone call. Christy, is there anything you want to share before we break up?
No, sorry. I had to jump off there. I had a situation as well. But I was more just jumping back on to hear you guys' feedback. I didn't obviously really get to hear much.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's wrap up. Okay.
Yeah. I'm excited to work with you guys. Keep it up, man. You're doing great.
Yeah. Thanks.
Yep. You do well.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Aswand. Thanks, everybody. Bye.